Hello friends, welcome to Data Science Lovers. In this video, we will analyze the HR data using Python programming language. Here we will have different questions. In this project, we have total 15 questions that we will solve. And these are the questions. What is the distribution of employee status? Means how many employees are active, resigned, retired or terminated from the company. Then we will see how many employees are there in each department and what is the average salary of these employees. Then we will see what is the distribution of work modes, means how many employees are working on site and how many employees are working remotely. Then which job title has the highest average salary. There are different job titles available in this dataset. Then what is the average salary in different departments based on job titles. This question is somehow similar to question number 5, but there is a difference that we will see in the video. The next question is how many employees resigned and terminated in each department. For this, we will create two separate data frames from our main data frame. First one for resigned employees and second data frame for terminated employees. Question number 8 is how does salary vary with the year of experience? And question number 9, we have to tell the average performance rating by department. Okay. And in question number 10, we have to answer which country have the highest concentration of employees. In this question, we will create a new column that will show the country. In question number 11, we have to mention is there is a correlation between two numerical columns, the performance rating and salary column. Then we have to answer how has the number of hires changed over the time, or you can say per year. Here we will create a new year column from the date time column. And then we have to compare the salaries of remote versus on-site employees. And we have to tell is there any significant difference in their salaries. Question 14, we have to find out the top 10 employees with their highest salary in each department. Here we have 7 departments and from each department we have to find out the top 10 employees having the highest salaries. In the last question, we have to identify the departments with highest attrition rate. Okay, so this is an interesting question. Here in this project, we are using Python because the number of records are too high. Here we have about 2 million rows or 2 million records equal to 20 lakh records. Okay, so we can't use Power BI or Tableau for this data frame. Okay, and we can easily handle this huge data with Python. Let's start with importing all the required libraries in this Jupyter notebook. First of all, we will import the Pandas. Then we will import the matplotlib library. And we will also import the Seaborn library here. Import Seaborn as SNS. Now we will import our dataset. Our dataset is in CSV format. So as you all know, what will be the syntax? The syntax will be pd.read_csv, and here we will paste the path of our file. So this is my file. I will copy its path and paste here. Okay, so like this, and we will save this in a data frame. I am naming the data frame as df only, df equal to this, and I am writing a small r here to remove the Unicode error. The data is been importing in this Jupyter notebook. The data has been imported successfully. Let's have a look at our data frame. So this is our data frame here. In this data frame, when we see there are about 2 million rows. Okay, means 20 lakh rows, and there are 12 columns. These are the columns. This is our first column. We will remove this unwanted column. Then we have employee ID, the employee name, the department of the employee, the job title, and the hiring date of the employee, the location. It is a worldwide data. Then we have the performance rating out of 5 of the employees. Then we have year of experience, the status, whether the employee is active in the company or resigned or terminated or retired. Then we have the column work mode, whether the employee is working on site or whether the employee is working remotely. And at last column we have the salary of the employee. Okay, so let's check some basic information about our dataset. Here I am writing the comment for each line of code for your understanding, so that you can easily understand the codes. So we will get the basic information about the dataset, and the syntax is or data frame name dot info function. As you all know, it is showing that there are 20 lakh, or you can say 2 million entries here, and these are the index range. The index always starts from 0 by default, and there are 12 columns in this data frame. These are the column names, and it is showing the data type of each column name. The first column is integer data type. We will remove this column, and these columns are of object, or you can say category data type. Then we have integer, then object and integer. Okay, so in total we have 4 integer column and 8 object columns. Now we will remove the unwanted column from this data frame. So we have to remove this column unnamed 0. To remove any column from the data frame, we have a function which is known as drop function. So on this data frame df, we will use the drop function. Inside this function we have to pass some parameters. Our first parameter will be our column name that we want to remove. So we want to remove this column, and I will copy and paste here. Okay, and then we have to pass axis parameter, means x is equal to 1. It means we want to remove the column from the data frame, and when we will run this, it is showing that the column is removed from this data frame. But when we have a look at our data frame again, then the column is still present here. To remove this column permanently, we have to pass a third parameter, which is in place. In place equal to true, and it will remove the column permanently from this data frame. Running this, the command has been executed, and when we run this command again to show the data frame, the column is deleted from this data frame now. Now here, if you notice that the hire date column, the data type here is object data type, and it must be in date time format only because it is a date column. Okay, so we will change its data type. Change the data type of date column here. To change the data type of any column into datetime format, we have a function known as toDateTime. So from Pandas library pd.toDateTime function we will use, and inside this function we have to pass the column name, or we have to consider the column that we want to change. So I want to change the data type of this column, hire date. I will copy this and paste here like this, hire date. Okay, you have to mention the data frame name as well before the column name here. Okay, and we will save this in our original column name. Okay, so our original column name is data frame and hire date like this. So in our original column hire date, we are making these changes, and when we will run this, the command has been executed, and have a look at our data frame again. This is our hire date column, and if we check the info function on this data frame, then you can see that the hire date column is now in date time format. Okay, the data type is date time. Now let's try to explore some columns from this data frame. This is the data frame, and suppose we want to explore this performance rating column. Okay, first of all I want to check how many values or unique values or the unique ratings are present in this column. So simply I will consider this column performance rating, and we will use the unique function. It is showing all the unique values of this column 5, 2, 1, 4, 3, means the ratings are from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And similarly we can use the value count function to check the count of these ratings. So value counts, it is showing all the ratings with their counts. The rating 4 is present about 4 lakh times in this data frame, means about 4 lakhs employees got the rating of 4. Similarly, rating of 2, there are 4 lakh employees also, and then 3, 1, 5. The number of employees are almost same for each rating here. We can also check the mean rating by using the mean function on this column. So performance rating dot mean function. Here it is showing that the mean rating is 3 out of 5. Now similarly we can explore our next column, which is experience year. I will copy this and let's check how many unique experience are here. So I will use the unique function this time to check the count of unique values. It is showing 16, means there are employees of about 16 unique years of experience. So I will show this, copy this and paste here using the unique function. These are the unique values present in this experience year column. Here you can notice that the experience is starting from 0, and here the highest experience is 15. That's why it is showing 16 here, means 0 to 15 years of experience we have in this company. Now we can also show this output in the form of a bar graph using the C1 library. So SNS, for this we will use the count plot function. Count plot. Inside this function, first of all we will pass the x-axis. On x-axis we want the values of column experience year. I will copy this column name and paste here. Here we have to pass our second parameter, which is data here, from which data or which data frame we want to consider. Here in this case we want to consider the DF, our original data frame, and at last plt.show to show the graph. It will look like this. All the experience are here 0 to 15 and the number of employees having these experience. About 2 lakh employees in the company having experience of years 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and about 1,50,000 employees having the experience of years 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and so on. Very less number of employees having experience of 15 years here. If we want to show the count of these numbers, then we can use the value count function on our data frame column. I will copy this and paste here. On this we will use the value count function. It will show the count. For 15 years the count is 571 only, means only 571 employees having the experience of 15 years, and these are the counts for other years of experience. Here I am showing you one extra thing. Suppose in any case you want to consider the columns from the data frame that have the data type of object only. Okay, in that case you can use the select dtype function on the data frame. So our data frame name, on this we will use the select d types. Okay, and inside this function we will pass the parameter include equal to object, because we want to see the columns having object data type. Using this function, it will show all the columns having object data type. Similarly, you can show only those columns that have data type of numeric format. Okay, then you can consider include equal to numbers. Okay, like this. It will show only those columns where the data type is in integer or float format. Moving to our first question, it is asking what is the distribution of employees status, means how many employees are active, how many resigned, retired or terminated. So in this data frame we have a column, the status column. We will consider this column here. Suppose I will consider status column. On this column I will use a function value counts. This function will show the all unique or distinct value from this column with their counts. When we will run this, it will show all the unique values active, resigned, retired, terminated with their counts. It is showing that about 14 lakh employees, or you can say 1.4 million employees are active in the company. About 3,98,000 employees resigned, about 99,000 employees retired, and we will save this output in a variable. I am naming the variable as status here for the simplicity. Status, this one. If we check the type of this variable using the type function, it is a series. As you all know, in a series we have index and we have values. In this case, active, resigned, retired, terminated are the indexes and these are the values for this series. We will use this to draw the plot here. Now we will draw a pie chart here to show this output. First of all, we will consider our series which is stored in status variable. On this, we will use the plot function. Inside the plot function, we will pass the required parameters. Our first parameter is kind here. What kind of chart we want? We want a pie chart. Okay. And the next parameter, we can pass the colors. As here we have 4 different categories, so we have to pass 4 different colors. I am naming as magenta, yellow, green, red here. Suppose I run this now, then it will show a pie chart like this. To remove this extra line, we have to always mention plt.show. Now it is showing that these employees highlighted by magenta color are active, the red color denoting the terminated employees, the green color representing the retired employees, and this yellow color representing the resigned employees. To modify this chart, first of all we can show the percentage of these values using the auto PCT parameter. I am using auto PCT equal to this one, and when we will run this, it will show the percentage for each category. Active 70%, then 5%, 5%, 19.9%. Okay. Then to make this chart more attractive, we can use another parameter which is explode. Explode will help in cutting out these slices out. Suppose I am writing this like this, and when we will run this, you can see that there is a cutting in the slices of each category. Now you can pass any value here. You have to pass a very little value. Suppose I am passing 0.01, then let's see the difference here. There is a negligible difference here. Suppose I pass here the first value as 1, then you can see there is a huge difference here. So I am making it again 0.03. Here, as you notice, there are 4 different categories, so we have to pass 4 different values for each slice. I am passing 0.03 for each slice like this. We have some other parameters or functions that we can use to customize our pie chart. but I am not using here. I am showing this simple pie chart here. Moving to our next question. Question number 2 is, what is the distribution of work modes? It means how many employees are working remotely and how many employees are on site. In this case, we will consider this column, this work mode column. Okay. From this column, we will fetch out all the unique values with their counts using the value count function. First of all, we will consider the work mode column. On this column, we will use the value count. This is very important function, and it is showing on-site employees. The number is about 11,99,000 and the remote employees are about 8 lakhs. Now we will show this output in the form of a pie chart. So first of all, I will save this in a variable like work. You can give any variable name here, and from this work variable I will use plot function and we will pass the parameters here like we did in this case. Our first parameter will be what kind of chart we want. We want a pie chart, so I will pass pie here. Next parameter, we can pass colors. So in this case we have two different categories, on-site and remote, so we have to pass two colors. The first color will be, I am passing cyan denoted by C, the second color red denoted by R, and at last plt.show. It will show the pie chart like this. This much employees are on site and this much employees are remote. Again, to show the percentage for these categories, we can use this parameter only, and I will copy this and paste here. Every time you can copy and paste this same parameter with same values, and running this, it will show that 60% of employees are on site while 40% employees are working remotely. Here I am not using another parameter which is explored here because I don't want to cut out the slices as there are only two different categories only. But I will use a new parameter which is shadow, and we will pass shadow as true. When we will run this, you can see it is dropping a little shadow here in the left of this pie chart. So that's how you can create pie charts where we have some small categories in a column. Moving to our next question, question number 3. How many employees are there in each department of the company? In this case, we have a column named department. We will consider this column. We have to count the number of employees working in each department. First of all, we will consider this column department, and on this column we will show all the unique values with their counts. So I will use the value count function here also. It is showing that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 departments: IT, sales, operations, marketing, finance, HR and R&D. And these are the number of employees working in these departments. IT has maximum number of employees which is about 6 lakhs. Then we have sales about 4 lakh employees. Then operations 3 lakhs, 2 lakhs, about 2 lakhs, 1.5 lakhs. And at last we have R&D department where we have the least number of employees as we have in all companies. You have noticed one thing here, that when we are using the value count function, it is automatically by default showing the result in the descending orders, means highest value at the top and lowest value at the bottom. Now to show this output in the form of a graph or chart, again we will draw a bar chart. This time we are drawing a bar chart because there are values that are greater than 3 or 4. If we have value 1, 2, 3, 4, then we can draw a pie chart, but in case we have more values, then it will be better to draw a bar chart. So we will draw a bar chart and we will use the Seaborn library here, and we will draw a count plot. Inside the count plot, first of all we will pass our parameter x. Here we have to pass the department column, means we have to write this x, which is parameter, and inside this we have to pass the column name. Then we have second parameter here, the default parameter data. Here we have to pass the data frame name that we want to consider. We want to consider the df, which is our original data frame. Okay, and at last plt dot show. It will draw a count plot like this, showing the department on x-axis and the count of employees on y-axis. It is showing that IT has the maximum number of employees while RD has minimum number of employees, and these are the count of employees in other departments. We can also make a second part of this question. In this question, it is asking how many employees are there in each department. Similarly, we can show how many employees are there in different job titles. So in that case, we will consider the job title column. Here I am copying and paste here, and we will replace this department column with job title. And when we will run this, it will show all the job titles available in the company and with the count of employees. Here software engineer are the maximum, about 3 lakhs. Then we have sales executive, about 2 lakhs, and at last we have innovation manager, about 5,000. We can also show this output in the form of a bar graph like this. Simply I will copy this again and paste here, and this time we will make our x as job title, which is our column name, and when we will run this, it will show the output like this. But here we can't read the x-axis labels, means we can't read the job title, so we have to make it readable. For this I will use the xticks function from matplotlib library, plt.xticks, and here we have to pass the parameter rotation. Here the rotation is horizontal, but when we will pass rotation as vertical, let's see the changes. Here it will look like this. We can also change the size of this figure using the figure function, plt.figure. Here I am setting the size as 10 by 6. When we will run this, it will show like this here. Okay, so on x-axis we have the job titles. You can read from here, software engineer, SEO specialist, like this, and on y-axis we have the counts. We have highest software engineers and we have lowest innovation manager. Moving to our next question. Question number 4 is, what is the average salary by department? In this case, we have to consider two different columns. Our first column will be department and the second column will be salary. In above questions, we have make use of value count function, and now we will make use of group by function on our data frame. So first of all, we will group all the different departments, and after making the groups, we will check the average salary for each department. Let's first of all make the groups for each department. From our data frame, we will consider the group by function. Inside group by function, we have to pass our first column name, in which we want to create the groups. We want to create the group for different departments here. So I will consider department column. And when we will run this, it will show nothing. It will show like this only. Then we have to consider our second numerical column here. Our numerical column here is salary. I will copy this column name and paste here to avoid any typing mistake. And on this column we will use the mean function because we have to find the average salary. To find the average we have the mean function. When we will run this, it will show the output like this. It will make the group of each department here and it will show the average salary for each department. As the values are not readable or we can't understand these values easily, so I will simply divide the values or result by 1000 here. Then it will look like this. By doing this, these values are now some little understandable. Here IT has the maximum average salary while we have HR which has the minimum average salary, and these are the average salary of other departments. Now we will show this output with the help of a graph. For this we will save this in any variable name. I am naming variable name as dept, means department only, short form. Okay, you can give any variable name of your choice. Now we will draw the bar chart. Let's check the type of this dept. Here it is a series. Okay, means we have index and we have values. Now on this series we will use the plot function, and here we will pass x-axis values, y-axis values. Okay, for x-axis we want the index of this series, so I will consider the index here like this. On y-axis we want the values here like these values. Okay, so I will consider the values, and here I want to draw a bar graph, so we have the kind parameter to mention that we want a bar graph here. Okay, and at last plt dot show. When we will run this, it will draw a very simple bar graph like this, showing the different departments on x-axis and the counts on y-axis here. We can modify this. First of all, let's change the color of the bars. Suppose I am changing as cyan only. Okay, it is the full form is this. Okay, and then we can pass the legend also here, legend equal to true. So if you notice that it is showing salary here, this is our legend for this bar graph. And we can also adjust the width of these bars. I am passing as 0.3, so the width is this one. If I pass 0.9, the width will increase like this. Okay, so I am passing 0.3 and I am mentioning the color as C only. Here to make the graph more readable, we can pass one more parameter or one more function from matplotlib library, which is grid function. When we will pass grid function plt.grid, it will form the grids in this bar chart, so that we can easily notice the values of each bars. The highest bar is above 1000 and the lowest bar is below 100, something like here 750. Okay, we can also give the title and we can also give the label for this y-axis. So I am giving the title as average salary in departments and the y label this one as salary, and average salary in departments and salary. These salary are just a numerical number here, and in your country the currency may be different, so kindly consider these salaries as a numerical number only here. Okay, you can change the currencies accordingly as per your requirement. Moving to the next question, question number 5. Which job title has the highest average salary? This question is something similar to the above question. Here it was asking average salary by department. In this question it is asking average salary by job title. Okay, so here we have to consider the job title column and the salary column. Again we will group by the job title. So I will use the data frame dot group by function, and this time we have to make the groups of different job titles. So I will consider job title here, and when we will run this it will show nothing. Then we have to pass our second column in the square brackets. Our second column is salary INR. This is the column name I have to pass, and here also I have to show the average salary. So I will use the mean function, and when we will run this it will make the group of all different job titles present in this column, and against these job titles it will show the average or mean salary. Okay, and again we can divide the result by 1000 to make it more readable. Here we can notice that 2098 is the maximum, which is for IT manager, and we can also notice the lowest salary from the bar graph. To draw the bar graph, we will save this in a variable of, I am naming the variable as salary only here. You can give any variable name. Now we will draw the bar graph, and to draw the bar graph, the syntax is almost same for all bar graphs, so I am copying this syntax only. Okay, and I will show how to make changes. First of all, we have to pass our this series, the salary dot plot function, then we have to use, then we have to pass the x-axis parameter. I am considering this syntax. Okay, so x-axis parameter, for x-axis we have the index here, and salary dot index, then we have y, here we have salary dot values, means these values on y-axis, and this one on x-axis. Okay, and first of all I am showing how it will look like this. It will look like this. It is drawing a line chart by default. Now we have to pass the parameter kind equal to bar, then it will draw a bar chart or bar graph like this. Here I want to tell you one thing, that it is a good practice to write each parameter and run the code again and again. As I write the x parameter and y parameter and run the code, then I write the kind parameter and run the code, so that I can easily notice the difference in our chart or graphs. Then we can change the color. In this case I can change the color like green. Okay, so it will draw like this. And again, using the figure function, I can increase the size of this graph like 10 by 6. Okay, now I am removing this line of code, we don't need it now. Okay, and we can also pass the title and y-axis label. Okay, on x-axis we already have the job title mentioned like this. Here I have used the grid function to show the grid. Then we have given the title as average salary with respect to job title. On y-axis we have set the y label, which is salary, and running this is our title, this is our salary. From this graph we can easily notice that the highest salary is of IT manager, and here we have the lowest salary, which is for HR executives. So if you are an HR executive, you may be disappointed here. And these are the salaries for other jobs in this organization. Here you can notice that the salary of CFO and CTO is also less than the IT manager and our finance manager, because the reason may be these CFO and CTO may be holding some stakes in the company. That's why they may take less salary. Moving to the next question. Question number 6 is, what is the average salary in different departments based on job titles? This question is somehow similar to above two questions, but here we will do a solution in different type. Here we have the data frame and we will consider 3 columns this time: department, job title and salary column. And as usual we will use group by function, but this time we will use the group by function on 2 columns at the same time. So data frame name, group by function, and here we will consider 2 different columns at once. The first column we will consider department column, and the second column we will consider the job title column. Okay, we will consider these 2 columns, and running this it will show the output like this as of now. And we will consider our third column, salary, which is our numerical column, to get the average of this column. Okay, and to get the average we will use the mean function. Running this it will show the output like this. It is grouping by department as well as it will group by job titles, and for each department it will show the available job titles and also the mean average salary for each job title. From here we can easily notice that HR director, HR executive, HR manager, talent acquisition specialist belongs to HR department. Okay, similarly these job titles belongs to marketing department and these job titles belongs to sales department. In the above cases we were not having this type of output. Okay, we were having only the job titles, and in above cases we were having the departments only. But in this case we can easily recognize the department with their job titles, and these are the mean salary. And again we will divide by 1000 to make it more understandable. Now we will draw a graph also for this output. So I will save this in variable. Suppose I am naming the variable department job, and this is my department job variable having this much data or this much output. Now let's proceed to draw a bar graph. To draw the bar graph we will consider this output, and this output is saved in a department job variable. On this variable we will use the plot function, and inside this we will pass the what kind of graph we want. This time we will draw a horizontal bar graph, so I will pass bar h here. Okay, now we can set the size of our figure. I am setting the size here also. Figure size equal to suppose 10 by 5. You can give any figure size of your choice as per the requirement. Okay, and 10 by 5 plt. Here we have to close this again. plt dot show. Running this it will draw a horizontal bar graph like this. Here it is showing the department at first, then it is showing the job title. The department R&D and the job title innovation manager, and this is the average salary for this job title in this department. Here also we have IT department and IT manager and the average salary. Here on x-axis we have the numeric values, the salary, while on y-axis we have the categorical value, the department and the job title. We can customize this, and first of all we will pass the title and X label. Okay, the title I am giving here is average salary in defined departments, and on x-axis we don't have any label, so I am giving label as salary. And we will run this. It will show the title and the X label. Here all the bars are of same color, blue color. We can give random colors to these bars to make it more attractive. For this, first of all we will import the random module, import random, and Then we will give the colors to different bars. Here I have chosen a variable name num bars, means number of bars, and the values length, which is equal to the department job variable, means the length will be equal to these values, these different job titles. Okay, and then we have choose another variable random colors. In this random colors we have given this function. Okay, you can remember or you can practice this function. I am not explaining this here. After writing this command or this syntax, you can simply put this random color variable in this plot function as a parameter. So we will give the color, and we want the color that are available in this random colors. So we will run this and it will show different unique colors to each bar. Now in any case you want to save any figure or chart or graph, then I am telling you a function which is save figure function from matplotlib library. So we have to use plt dot save fig. Okay, it will save the figure. Inside this we have to give the name to our file. So I am naming as suppose new chart. Okay, and then we have to give the extension. I am saving this as a PNG format here. Okay, so this is how we can save any chart or save any figure from the Jupyter notebook in our system or computer. And here you have to remember one thing, that you have to pass this command before or above plt.show. Okay, and we will run this. The command has been executed. Now we will check our system or folder to check out this figure. Going to our folder, you can see here in this folder we have the file name new chart, and when we will open this, it will open, and this is the chart that we have saved in our computer. Here we can notice that this image is not complete as we have in our Jupyter notebook like this one. So here we have to pass one more parameter, which is bbox underscore inches equal to tight. When we will run this, and now we will check our image. We will open this image now. Now we have the complete image as we have in our Jupyter notebook. So you have to consider this parameter also. Moving to the next question of this project. The next question is how many employees resigned and how many employees were terminated in each department. First of all, let's have a look at our data frame again. Here we have to consider this status column, means it is representing the status of the employees in the company. Let's check how many status are present, means how many types of status are here. We will use the unique function on status column. It is showing 4 different status: resigned, active, terminated and retired. From here we have to choose the resigned and terminated status. There are many methods to solve this question, but in our case we will create 2 different data frames. First one for resigned employees and second one for terminated employees. And as you all know how to create multiple data frames from a single data frame or the main data frame, we can use the filtering for this. Let's see how. First of all, we will consider our column, status column. From this column, we have to filter out all the values where we have the value resigned. When we will run this, it will show the result in the Boolean format. To get the answer in desired format, we have to pass this whole code in a square brackets, and we have to put the data frame name in the starting. When we will run this now, it will show only those records where the status is resigned, like this. And from this output, you can conclude that about 3,98,000 employees have resigned. Okay, it is also showing the count here. Now we will save this data frame in a new data frame, and you can give any name to this. I am naming as data frame df resigned. Okay, and we will print this df resigned. Now, as the total count of resigned employees is this much, but we have to find out the count of resigned employed department wise. So in this case, we will consider this department column and we will apply group by on this column. Okay, so first of all, we will consider this data frame, newly created data frame. On this data frame, we will use group by function, and first of all, we have to pass our main column, which is department, and it will create the groups for each department in this data frame, and then we have to find the count. To find the count here, you can consider any column. I am considering the status column here. On this, we have to put a function known as count function. When we will run this, it will show the count department wise. In finance department, about 40,000 employees have resigned. In HR, 31. In IT department, we have the highest number of employees who have resigned, and these are the other numbers department wise. If you understand this output, then in this output we have the count of rows where the department is finance, and the count of rows or records is 40,000. This is our actual answer now. Okay, here I have choose the status column, okay, as my second column to put the count function. You can put any column here. Suppose I copy this and paste here. Whatever column we put here, suppose I put the work mode column. Even after putting another column, the output will be same, because it is showing the count of records as per the department. You can put any column name here randomly from this data frame. And one thing here you have to notice that we have to use now df resigned employee data frame, and we don't have to use the actual data frame here. Now we will show this output or these numbers on a chart. Okay, so let's save this in a variable. I am naming the variable as R employee, short form for resigned employees, and this is my resigned employee, and it is a series. We have index and we have values. To draw the plot, we will consider this R employee dot plot function. First of all, we will pass the x parameter, what we want on x-axis. On x-axis, we need the index here, and on y-axis we need the values, and plt dot show. Okay, it will show a line chart by default. Then we will pass our another parameter kind. What kind of chart we want? We want a bar chart. Then it will show a bar chart. We have to put a comma here. Okay, like this. Here on x-axis we have department names. On y-axis we have the count of employees. We can customize this chart or modify this chart. Let's change the color of the bars. I am changing it as black, and we can put the legend also here. Legend equal to true. Here you can see it is showing status. This is our legend, and here we can also put the label retired. Okay, sorry, it is resigned. Okay, so it is showing label or the legend like this, means these employees are resigned employees. We can also give the title to this chart and the y label. The title I have given is number of resigned employees, and on y-axis we have the count of employees. Now the second part of this question, we have to mention about the terminated employees in each department. Similarly, we will create a new data frame for terminated employees only. Okay, and let's create it. df, we will create the data frame for terminated employees from our original data frame, and from the original data frame we will choose the status column and double equal to sign for filtering, and in this case we want the value terminated. Okay, when we will run this, it will show the result in boolean format. We have to pass status actual value. Okay, now we will get the result in the form of a data frame by this. Okay, and here these are the records where the status is terminated only, and about 99,000 employees are terminated from the company. We will save this in another variable, and the variable name I can choose df, or you can say it is our data frame name df terminated. Okay, df terminated. Now we will work on this new data frame. We will find out the count of terminated employees department wise. So on this data frame df terminated, we will use the group by function, and first of all we will choose the department column to make groups, and then we will choose any random column here. Suppose I choose the location. Okay, and on this we will use the function, the count function. It will show all the counts department wise. In finance department 9,000 employees were terminated, in HR 7,000, and here we have the highest number of employees that were terminated in IT department, and these are the count for other departments. In this case also, if I change the second column here, then the count will remain same. Now we will show these numbers in the form of a bar chart. So I will save this whole output in a new variable, and the variable name I am giving as T employee, means terminated employees. You can give any variable name here. Now using this T employee, it is a series. Okay, these are the index, these are the values. We will draw a bar graph. So T employee dot plot. Here we have to pass x-axis. On x-axis we need the index, on y-axis we need the values, and the kind of chart we need is bar chart. plt dot show, it will show a bar chart like this. Department on x-axis and the count on y-axis. IT has the maximum number of employees, and we can customize this again. Color orange, the color is changed. We can give the legend and label also. Legend equal to true, and label we have the terminated. These are the count of terminated employees. So this is the label and legend we have. We can also give the title and y label or y-axis label. Here the title is given number of terminated employees, and on y-axis we have the count. I am adjusting the size of this figure as 8/4, and running this. This is our final output. We can show these two different bar charts in one single chart also. For this we will copy these two code and paste in one code block only. Okay, I will copy this and paste here, and I will copy this also and paste here. And when we will run this, let's see what will be the output. The output will look like this. By black color, it is showing the count of resigned employees. By orange color, it is showing the count of terminated employees. If we consider this IT column, then the count is about 30,000, and here also for IT the count is 30,000, and for resigned it is about 1,20,000. And if we see this column, this chart, the count for IT employees is 1,20,000. Okay, so that's how we can use a single charts also to show the count of resigned and terminated employees. Here we can also put the legend for this, and the legend I have choose employee status. Running this, it will show the legend employee status. Okay, and to get the actual count from this graph, we can use a function, the grid function. Okay, it will make the grids in this bar chart to notice the value or the height of these bar charts easily. And we can also adjust the figure size using the figure function. So we will choose the figure size as 8/4. So this is the final outcome. We can put the Y label as well, the count of employees. Okay, moving to the next question. The question is, how does this salary vary with year of experience of an employee? In this case, we have to consider two columns. First one is the salary column, this one, and second one is experience year columns. Let's see how many unique experience years are here using the unit function, and we have done this above as well. We will do this again. There are these unique number of years and the count is 16. Now on this experience years column, we will apply the group by function and find out the mean salary for each year. Okay, so data frame dot group by, and here we have to pass our column name, and the second column will be our salary column. Copy and paste, and this time we will find out the mean or the average. So we will use the mean function, and running this, it will show the values like this. Here on one side we have distinct number of years, and on another side we have the average salary for each year. Okay, so according to this data, the average salary is almost same for each experience year. Okay, but it should be different. The main purpose here is we have to show, or we have to learn how to use the commands on the data frame. There may be variation in the results depending on the data. Here I want to show you one thing, that when we are using the group by function, the output is sorted with these values, okay, which are on left side, or the values of the column. And while we were using the value count function that we use in above cases, let's see where the value count function, the values or the output is sorted with the values here that are present on the right side. Okay, so you have to remember this thing. Moving to the next question, what is the average performance rating by department? Here we have to choose two columns. We have to check out the performance rating, the average value of performance rating department wise. Okay, so on department column we will apply the group by function. Let's do it quickly. Group by and department column, and the second column we will choose is performance rating, and paste here, as we have to answer the average performance, so we will use the mean function on this, and it will group all the departments separately and it will show the mean value of performance rating for each department. Here the finance, we have the 2.9 performance rating, which is average, okay, and HR 2.9, IT 2.9, marketing 3, and operation 2.9, R&D sales have 3. These are the average performance rating based on the different departments. Now we will show this output using a bar graph again, and we will save this in a variable I am naming as PR performance rating. You can give any variable name here, and now using this output PR, we will use the plot function. Then we will pass x-axis as we did in our above cases. On x-axis we will have the index, on y-axis we will have the values, and the kind of chart we want is bar chart, plt dot show. Okay, it will show all the departments on x-axis and the average performance rating on y-axis. We can customize this chart. I have given the color to the bars as light green, LIGHT. Okay, I am giving the figure size here as 10:4. The size is increased. Next we can give the title and Y label. The title I am giving as average performance rating department wise, and on Y axis we have ratings. So it will look like this. The average rating is almost same, which is about 3 for all departments. That's why the height of all bars is almost equal. Moving to the next question. Question number 10 is, which country have the highest concentration of employees? Means where we have the maximum number of employees. And here if we see, we have a column location, but in this column location we have the state or city, then we have the country for each value. Okay, so first of all we will create a new column that will show only the country name. The column name I am naming as country only, and in this column what we will have, first of all we will choose the location column. On this column we will apply a function that will separate out the state and the country. So using the apply function we will use the lambda function now. Lambda, then we have a variable x. What will this x variable do? It will find out the string, and from the string it will split the values with where we have comma, because the states and the country are separated by a comma, so we have to write comma here. And after separating, what we will have, we have to choose this country. Okay, so to consider the country here, we have to pass in square brackets 1. When we will pass 1, it will show the country in our new column, but when we will pass 0, it will show the this state or city. Means when we will write 0, it will show the value that is present before the comma or our separator, and when we will write 1, it will show the value that is present after the comma or after this separator. To learn more about this lambda function, how this function works, you can watch this video on lambda function. Now this is our code, and when we will run this, the command has been executed and a new column in this data frame have been created. And now when we will run this, we will have a look at our data frame. We have a new column country here like this. Okay, it is showing only the country name, the Denmark, the Costa Rica, Saudi Arabia, and so on. Let's see how many unique countries are here. Our data frame dot country column dot unique, and I will use n unique to show the count. There are 243 countries in this data frame. Now let's see what is our question. Our question is, which country have the highest concentration of employees? To find the answer, we have to consider this country column and we have to find the or show the count of records country wise, and we can do this using the value count function. We will consider our column country. On this column we will use the value count function. It is showing all 243 countries here, 243 with their counts. As we can see, Congo has the maximum number of employees, then Korea, then Sri Lanka, and so on, and Bhutan and Palestinian territory has the lowest number of employees. Moving to our next question, we have to show, is there any correlation between the performance rating and salary of the employee? In this case, we will work on two different columns, performance rating and salary column. And to find the correlation between two numerical columns, we have a function, core function. Okay, first of all we will consider any of this column. I am considering performance rating column. On this column we will apply the correlation function. The short form is CORR, and inside this function we have to find, or we have to mention, our second column with which we want to find out the correlation. We have to find the correlation with salary, so I will consider this salary column, and when we will run this, it is showing minus 0.000, means about 0. It means there is no correlation between these two columns. We also have an alternate command to show the correlation. We have to consider both columns at once. Suppose I consider the performance rating column, and with this I consider my second column. And after considering both columns, we can put the correlation function at last. It will show the output like this: performance rating salary, performance rating salary. Okay, the output is same, the minus 0.00. Okay, there is no correlation between these two columns. We can show this output with the help of a heat map also. For this, we will use the Seaborn library sns.heatmap, and here we have to consider the columns, and inside this heat map function we have to show the correlation code. So data frame dot correlation. In this case I am showing the correlation for all numerical columns of this data frame at once, so I will pass a parameter numeric only equal to true, and run this. It will draw a heat map for us showing the correlation between different numerical columns of this data frame. Here the output is this. Here we have three different numerical columns: performance rating, experience years, and salary, and all the values are black here. Okay, means 0. There is no correlation between any numerical column. In the middle, the diagonal is always the cream color. Okay, because these columns, performance rating is highly correlated with performance rating column itself, experience, and salary. Okay, moving to the next question. Question is, how has the number of hires changed over time per year? Means we have to show the number of employees hired in each year. Let's have a look at our data frame. Here we have to consider this hire date column. And let's check first of all the data type of this column. Hire date dot d type to check the data type. Here it is showing that the data type is already in date time format as we have done above. Okay, now in this column we have year, month and date. So we have to separate out the year first of all from this date column, and we will create a new column here. As I create a new column above here, this country column, while we created this column, the column is created at the end of this data frame. But in case we want to create a new column in the middle of these columns, then we can use a function known as insert function. How to use this insert function? We have to consider our data frame, then insert function. Inside this function we have to pass some parameters. First of all, we have to pass the index value where we want to add this new column. As you all know, the index starts by 0. So this column employee ID is at my index number 0, full name is at index number 1, then 2, 3, 4. So hire date column is at index number 4, and after this I want a new column to add at index number 5. So I will simply pass 5 here. The next parameter we have to give is the name of the column. You can give any column name as per your choice. I am naming the column as year only here. And the third parameter is what we want in this column, means the values. In this column we want the years. So to split the year or to fetch the year from this date time column, we will use dt.year command. Okay, how to use? First of all, we have to consider this column, hire date. There are two ways to consider any column. You can use the square brackets like this, or you can simply use the dot. Okay, so after considering this column, we will use dt.year. I am mentioning here year because I want to extract the year from this value or date time column. If you want to extract the month, then you have to put the month here. Okay, then we will put here only, and when we will run this, the command has been executed. And if we have a look at our data frame now, you can see we have a new column at index number 5, and the column name is year, and it is showing only years. Okay, let's check how many different years or unique years are here. So we will consider this year column, and we will use the unique function first. These are the years in this column of the data frame. Let's check the count using the unique function. There are 16 years. I am seeing here the lowest is 2010 and the highest is 2025. Means the data is from 2010 to 2025. Let's see the question again. How has the number of hires changed over the time? So first of all, we will use the group by function again on this year column to make different groups for each year. Data frame dot group by. This group by function is very useful in Pandas, and group by, and here we have to consider our main column year. It will make the unique groups of group of all unique years. After this, you can put any second column here. I am putting employee ID column, and the main is you have to use the count function to get the count, and this is our output. In 2010, 15,000 employees were hired, 2011 40,000, and 2016 about 1,60,000, and so on. In 2022 we have the about maximum number of employees, which is 2 lakh. means 2 lakh employees were hired in 2022. Now we will convert this output in the form of a bar chart. So we will save this in a variable, suppose hire. Now we will draw a bar chart. Here we have used this output hire, and then we have used the plot function. On x-axis we have the index, means these years. On y-axis we have the values, these values, the count of employees, and the kind of graph is bar graph, and we have given the color to the bar as violet. ELT.show, this is our output. It is showing years on x-axis and the count of employees that were hired on y-axis. Here we can see in year 2022 we have the maximum number of hired employees. We can customize this plot. Using this figure function, we have set the size as 10/4. The size is increased. Now we can pass the title and y label. The title is given number of employees hired in any year, and then we have the y label. On y label we have the count of the employees. Here we can also show the grids using the grid function, and when I will use the grid function, it will show the grid like this. Here, to make it more attractive, we can customize this. I will pass true here, and I will pass the color here. Okay, color of these grids or these lines, you can say. And when I will pass color as simply white, let's see, then it will look like this. The white color is not visible here, but white color is visible in these bars, which is giving a amazing look to these bars. So this is the output for this question. Moving to our next question. The question is, we have to compare the salaries of remote versus on-site employees, and we have to show if there is any significant difference in the salaries of these employees. For this we have to consider two columns, the work mode column and the salary column. Let's see the mean salary based on these two different work modes. So I will use group by again, and this time we will group by with work mode, and then we will use the salary column. We have to mention or write the exact column name to avoid any error. On this we will use the mean function to get the average salary on for different work mode. When we have on-site, then the average salary is this one, and when we have remote, the average salary is almost same. So there is no significant difference while the employee is working remotely or while the employee is working on-site. Moving to our next question. The question is, find the top 10 employees with highest salary in each department. This question is interesting. We have to find out the 10 employees, top 10 employees with the highest salary. So we have to consider this salary column and we have to consider this department column. Let's make the group for different departments from this data frame. Data frame dot group by department, and this time we will use the apply function on these groups. Apply, and inside this function we will use the lambda function again. Lambda, then we have x. I will explain this code to you. First I write x dot and largest. We have to find the top 10, so I will write 10 here, and the column name we will consider salary. Okay, I am running this. This is our output. It is showing all departments in the starting, finance, sales, and so on, and here it is showing the top 10 employees the records of top 10 employees having the highest salary. Here in this department, finance department, Christopher Sloan have the highest salary, this much. Okay, then this guy has the second highest salary, and so on. Similarly, in this department, sales department, this guy has the highest salary and the second highest, third, and so on. It will show top 10 employees from each department. It is showing here the two departments, the first departments and the last departments. I will show all the departments to you. It is showing 70 records to you, as we have 7 departments, and for each department we are mentioning the 10 records. So 10 by 7 equal to 17 records here. So 10 by 7 equal to 70 records here. Let's see these records by using the head function and the tail function. I will save this output in a variable, suppose top 10, and this is okay. Now top 10. Okay, so first of all I will show the top 40 records using the head function and 40. I will show top 40 records. The finance departments and the top 10 employees, the HR department and their top 10 employees with highest salary, then IT department, then we have marketing department. Okay, these are 40 rows. Similarly, we can show the last remaining 30 rows using the tail function. Operation departments with their top 10 employees having highest salary, then R&D department, and at last the 7th department, which is sales department, and these are their 10 employees. So this is the output of this question. Now let's understand this line of code, what we have done here. Here, as you all know, first of all we created the group using the department column. Then we have used the apply function. After grouping, Pandas sends each mini data frame one department at a time into the function inside apply. Okay. Then here we have X. Each X represents the slice of data frame for single department. And after this we have the function enlarged. Inside each department data frame X, we ask Pandas give me top 10 rows where the column salary, this column is the largest. Then this sorts the salary then this sorts by salary in descending order and picks the top 10 records. Okay, now moving to our next question, the last question of this project, question number 15. The question is identify the departments with highest attrition rate. Attrition means percentage of resigned employees. In this case, we will work on two columns. First one is department and second one is this status column. And first of all, we will use the group by on this department column. And the second column we will choose is status column. Now on this status column we will find out the total number of employees and the number of employees who have resigned, okay, to find the attrition. So here we will use a new function, aggregate function. Inside this function, first of all we will mention the total number of employees. So total employee, and the total employee we will show the count only, okay, and then we will show the resigned employees, and to show the resigned employees we will use the lambda function, lambda x this much, and x we have to filter out the resigned employees only, and we will get the sum of these resigned employees. After running this, it will show the output like this. It will make the group of each department as it usually do. Then we have a column which is showing the count of total employees in this department. In this department we have this much count of employees total, and at last we have a values of resigned employees. In finance department this much employees resigned, in HR this much, and IT has the maximum number of employees who have resigned. What we have done here, first of all we have made the group of different departments using group by function. Then we have considered the second column, status column of this data frame, status column, and on this column we have used the aggregate function to work on two different you can say output at the same time. In one output, or our first output, we mentioned the total count of the employees, and in second output we mentioned the count of or the sum of resigned employees. Okay, we will save this in a variable. I am naming the variable as department counts. You can give any variable name. This is my department counts. Now we will find the attrition rate here. Before finding the attrition rate, let's me show you what is the type of this output. Type department counts. It is a data frame. Okay, we have this column, we have second column, and these are the indexes. Now we will create a new column that will show the attrition of the employees. So to create a new column, first of all we have to mention the new column name and department counts, and we have to mention the new column name. I am naming the column as attrition. Okay, attrition rate percentage here. Okay, this is my column name. Now in this column what I need the values based on these two columns. So first of all I will consider this resigned column, department, and this resigned column, and we will divide this with this second column, the total employee column. Okay, to find the attrition, and here we will pass my second column, and we will multiply with 100 to get the required output. Multiply by 100, and running this, the command has been executed. Now if we have a look at our this data frame, now it is showing error because okay, we have a new column with attrition rate. The finance department has an attrition rate of 20%, then 90%, 19, 19, 19. Okay, so finance department has the highest attrition rate in this company. The other departments has the attrition rate of about 19.9 something. It is hard to read here, so we can sort this output based on this attrition rate column. We will consider this, and after this we will use the sort value function. Inside this function we have to pass the column name based on which we want the sorting of the data frame. I want sorting based on attrition rate column, and we want the sorting in descending order. So I will put ascending equal to false, like this. So finance department has maximum attrition rate, then we have R&D department, then HR, IT, sales, marketing, and lowest attrition rate is in operation department. Okay, this is the final output for our question number 15. So that's all friends for this project. We have used here different functions and commands. Especially we have worked with value count function and the group by function. Group by function and value count function are very useful in Pandas